Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. And today in this tier list I just found while scrolling through Tier Maker, I'm going to be ranking all of the Ace Attorney Trilogy recurring characters. Give my thoughts on them. If you haven't seen my last video on my favorite ships, definitely go ahead and check that out. Definitely sparked some good debate in the comments, even though I'm blatantly recording these back to back, so I have no idea what happened, but I already know it's going to spark some debate. So go check that out if you haven't. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the main character, Phoenix Wright. This might make people hate me. He's A tier. He's not S tier. He appears in all three games, obviously. He's a main and recurring character, as opposed to someone like Godot, who is a main character, but he's obviously not recurring. Anyway, Phoenix suffers from being basically a bit of a blank slate character, personality-wise, for basically 1.5 of his games, right? And then the character that he does have isn't as apparent, which is fine. He's a good guy. I like him. He's a good character. A means you're really good. S means you're fantastic. So we'll move on to an S tier character now. I'll get all the main characters out of the way first, and then we'll move on to some of the like Willpowers, Maggie Bird. So Edgeworth is S tier. Done a video on him. It was one of my first videos. Check it out if you haven't seen it. It's about how the first game is really his game. Like when Edgeworth comes back in the next two games, he's kind of a nothing character. It sounds weird to say that, but he really kind of is. In Justice for All, he doesn't really do anything outside of the last case, obviously, because he's only in the last case. Same thing in Trials and Tribulations. He's only in like the last two cases. Seeing what he was like initially in Turnabout Beginnings was really good. It was really interesting to see how he was as a rookie. And it was a great flashback because it kind of reminds you how he was in Turnabout Sisters and like half of Turnabout Samurai. But he develops over the first game and he basically stays that way. That's fine, right? The whole Miles Edgeworth chooses death thing from the second game was kind of crappy. Wasn't as well done, but as a character, he's got to be S tier. Maya, S tier as well. I've done another video on her, Maya Fey, Endless Tragedy, because her life really is an endless tragedy. She's quietly one of the most tragic characters in the series. Think about it. Her mom disappears, leaves her. Her sister leaves her. Her aunt tries to get her killed, or framed, and then killed after. Jeez. She gets kidnapped and held for ransom and almost killed. Her mom dies right in front of her. And those are just the first 5 things I can think of. Gets accused of murder twice. That's 7 things over 3 games, just off the top of my head, that are incredibly tragic. And she still remains strong for Pearl. She still remains strong for Nick. They have such a great relationship. Maya and Nick would be an S tier relationship. They're just not both S tier characters. Okay, so the next main character, Dick Gumshoe. I think he's also an A tier guy. Gumshoe's a comedy character, right? We can all agree, like, he's there for laughs. Like, love that guy. Wish they brought him back at some point, but at this point I hope they don't. I love him though. But he's really a comedy character. He has that one badass moment in Turnabout Samurai where he comes in and stands up to the mob like a badass. Love that guy for that. But otherwise, he's just a joke. Just salary cutting noises and whatever, you know? And that's all he does, really. He's into Maggie. That's fair. She's kind of cute, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll do the hottest Ace Attorney people list. Obviously, you know, Salmonella from Turnabout Samurai would be S tier. Speaking of Turnabout Samurai, we'll do Old Bag right now. Why not? D tier. She's annoying. That's it, really. She's just annoying. So whatever. She's hateable, annoying. Yeah, who cares? The next main character that we can get into that appears in all 3 games is Mia. Mia Fey is another A tier, I think. Again, her development happens off screen. If it weren't for Trials and Tribulations, she'd be a B tier probably. But yeah, she comes in, teaches you, dies, and then carries you throughout the entire series. But her appearance in Trials and Tribulations alone, when you play as her, is enough to bring her up to A tier from B tier, because she's very funny. She's different from Phoenix. It's interesting to hear her internal monologue, and it's also interesting to see where your mentor comes from. So that's just good stuff, really. Okay, Larry Butts, B tier, right? He's annoying, but he comes in clutch a couple times. Bridge to the turnabout goodbyes would probably have not been solved without him. So I can't really say much about that, about him otherwise. He's another comedy character. Always gets dumped, girl crazy, whatever. Okay, the next character that appears in 2 of the 3 games now. You know what? We could do Lotta, actually. We'll do Lotta. Lotta's another B tier. I like her more than Larry, probably. Out of all the sort of characters that probably could have been a one-off that they brought back, I think she's the best. Her and Will Powers probably will be both in B tier, so I'll just go throw them there. These characters didn't need to come back, but it's nice to see them back, you know? It gives the sense that you're still in the same world, and that your actions previously affect things in a positive way, so that's always good for world building and whatnot. And then, of course, Lotta does come in clutch, you know, with her photographs. Will Powers, I honestly don't really remember what Will Powers does that much. So, you know, I think I'm going to throw him in C tier. Don't hate him, he's not bad. He doesn't do anything, right? Like, what does Will Powers do? He just gets arrested. That's it. Okay, Franziska von Karma. Probably throw in B tier. I hate her as a prosecutor. She's not as good as the other 2. She's just not. She's a comedy character. That's what she is. She whips people and says fool. That's all Franziska does. Okay? Hate me for it. Dislike the video. You can't even see the dislikes anymore because YouTube removed them. Whatever. I got a whole video on it. I don't think she's that good in Justice for All. Fight me. I don't care. Pearl, B tier as well. She's just cute. That's basically what she's there for. Her job is to be cute and channel Mia, and she does her job. So B tier. She doesn't go above and beyond. She doesn't suck. That's about it, really. I wish when she comes back in the later games, they actually changed her design a little bit, because you think she'd like look older, maybe grow into her forehead. I don't know. She probably got bullied for that. Okay, Maggie Bird and Adrian Andrews both appear in 2 games, so I'll just go with them next. Adrian Andrews, my mouse slipped out of my hand, okay. Probably throw her an A tier. I think she'll get a character analysis video at one point or another. I think, listen, Ace Attorney I'll do a whole video on this too one day. Ace Attorney isn't exactly the greatest. It's probably because it's Japanese. It's not the greatest at handling sensitive topics like gender identity, sexuality, and obviously mental health. But Adrian Andrews, they do a pretty good job with her mental health. I think they portray it in a realistic enough way while still maintaining the Ace Attorney vibe, and I really appreciate that from the writers. And these are the same writers that wrote Recipe for Turnabout, with a pretty homophobic character, for being honest, a very homophobic caricature of a character. But thankfully, Adrian Andrews, they did good with her. She's also probably lesbian. Let's be real. Somebody got really offended when I called her a lesbian icon, and they said it was harmful to my character analysis. I don't care. It was Pride Month, or it was about to be Pride Month when I wrote that video, so I gotta get that in there. All right. Maggie Bird. Again, doesn't really do anything. You know, B tier. Get with Gumshoe. He's a good guy. You know, he made you the weenies. Come on, Maggie. Also, your name's spelled weird. Okay? That's it. Godot, S tier. S tier. Godot, probably S tier, yeah. He's an idiot, right? His plans in Bridge to the Turnabout is so stupid. It's dumb. It was never going to work. But obviously he recognizes that. For only being in one... He's probably the best one game character that they've maybe ever had. if we're being honest. His arc happens entirely in one game and makes great use of one flashback. Exactly one flashback is what carries his character from good to great. And I appreciate that. I mean, all these other characters are recurring, they're all recurring. Everybody appears in more than one game, right? Everybody on this list appears in more than one game. And Godot doesn't. And that speaks to how good he is as a character, that he's up there in S tier with people that have had multiple games to develop. I got a whole video on Godot as well. Got a whole video on a lot of these guys. Go check out my character analysis playlist, and I'll catch you later. Goodbye.